for all three of y'all. Recently, I would say probably about 6 months ago, I had some identity theft happen to me. I happen to be a government investigator, so it was the wrong person to have that happen to. But I noticed talking to a lot of the older individuals in Sulphur Springs that they had similar situations. I went to the county sheriff's office because I live out in Precinct 1 out in the county, and I actually had to do the footwork in the investigation myself in order to contact Georgia, Virginia, Florida, where all the charges were taken care of. The one thing that surprised me the most is the Georgia Sheriff's Office in Louis, Georgia. They asked me why Sulphur Springs County Sheriff's Office had not contacted them because of this internet fraud. And I'm talking about $5,000 worth of money. So to me, that's a lot of cash when I see a credit card bill that owes zero and then suddenly getting $5,000 on. But what I've traced it to is that it happened in Sulphur Springs somewhere, and it was by a person at a local restaurant that had taken the numbers off the credit card when they take it back to go scan it or whatever. Don't know who that person was, but that's how I found out, and then I'm working with Georgia because that's where the largest dollar amounts happen, so they can go ahead and try to prosecute the people that are in that ring of people that are doing this. But there's a lot of older senior citizens in Sulphur Springs that have gotten phone calls from people pretending they're from the IRS, being really belligerent on the phone, threatening them to send money, that sort of thing. What are you doing, or what can you do to educate those seniors who freak out, so to speak, when they get calls like that? Because they don't know. They don't deal with the internet. They don't deal with automated systems.
They're like us old schoolers. I don't deal with it very much either. But I can tell you where the problem lies, and I can tell you how the problem's solved. Homeland Security. I don't know whether we even have a close Homeland Security here or not, but it should be one in this county. There should be a representative in this county. There are in several more counties. And if not, then we're about to have one, because I'll request that myself. Number one thing is your driver's license, your social security card, and all those things that people use now at Wally World and all these other places. I don't know whether they can legally use some of that things, even for check purposes. And the reason why is because it's just a Homeland Security violation. The terrorists in this country have been doing this for 15 years. They've been taking your identity, and they've been going out and buying cars and all kinds of stuff to fight you against you. But Homeland Security is the answer. She's a member of Homeland Security. She can tell you, and she can tell you after we get finished here. But I don't know why we don't have that available here, and I'm thinking it has to do with the number of folks in a county, how many Homeland Security people that would be here, but there should be.
But that's not a Homeland Security matter. That's a law enforcement matter it's a fraud. It's basically what it is. It's theft of funds.
Yeah. Well, it'll have to start on the local level with law enforcement. You're right. You can report it there. But my answer to the question is do we not have a Homeland Security here? Maybe that's a question I need to ask somebody else. Because that's the answer to the question. The state issues the driver's license, and they issue the ID cards.
I'm very familiar. I'm in that arena, so I'm very familiar with the level. What my question is what will you do to educate the community and your seniors about fraud? I didn't even see anything in the paper when it was out there, but I do see that somebody calls about a cow standing in water and somebody thinks that's cruel. So, I mean,
I'll answer the question this way. And I think I may have covered it earlier. We're called to education and law enforcement. I mean, this is 21st century, guys, and what we have to do is we have to go to schools, our law enforcement people, and be educated where we can stand and answer that question directly. We have to go to schools for terrorism. We have to go to schools for all these other issues and problems that we have. I started going to terrorist schools 15 years ago. I've got a book right back there that shows you every kind of bomb that they can make. So education is our key for law enforcement right now. And even we're going to, my biggest deal is trying to get us back to one where you will feel comfortable with us, and then we can have folks that specialize. The deputies here, somebody needs to specialize in every phase of the game. And that's not saying that all of them need to specialize in it, but if you send one to a terrorist school, you send the next one to a criminal interdiction school, you send the next one to a school that you just talked about on IDs and identity theft, and those people can come in and teach the folks within your building. That's the way we've done it as state peace officers. You know, when you become good at it, then you can teach the rest of the group, and you can teach all of the country. But that's the answer to the question, is basically set the standard, come back to the education part of it.
I'd like to hear how the other candidates would answer that question.
I'm gonna get right to your answer. That is, senior citizens are victims every day. There are driveway scams, there's roof scams, there's every kind of scam you can imagine where you go in and do $50 worth of work and they charge $500 or $1,000. My ideas is that you educate the general public, you educate their children on how to protect their parents, just like you educate parents on how to protect their children. So what I would do, most of the seniors aren't on Facebook, they're not on the internet, they may listen to the radio, KSST, read the local paper. That's where you have to put the information out. You have to put it on the local TV channel that they're going to watch. You have to put it on the local radio. You have to put it in the paper that they're going to read. And that's where they're going to get the education of what's going around. Now, can I speak on what happened to you?
sure.
What happened to you is something that's very common in the fraud market. What you end up happening is you end up having departments say, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You live in the county, but it happened in the city. But it ended happened in Georgia. So nobody really wants to accept responsibility for it. You know, it can be filed by the county because it's where you live. It can be filed by Sulphur Springs PD because that's where it took place. Or it can be filed in Georgia. My thing is we will have investigators that specialize in those types of crime. They will be educated. They will know how to work those crimes. Thank you.
And a note on that, sir. I am aware of the case in Hunt County that had that happen, and that person got 99 years for the different charges that they had stolen different people's identity. I'm quite aware of that case because I actually work with an individual on the case.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, ma'am, I'm not sure just exactly about your case. I don't know if I've ever met you or not. But, you know, we have no telling how many of these cases come in every day. I've spoken to the local media, newspapers. When we have a new one come out, a new type of fraud comes out, we always go ahead and call radio stations right then. We do everything we can to try to get to the public to tell them what kind of scams coming out. What I've been telling them lately is, if it's too good to be true, it is. If somebody, you know, we got a scam the other day, somebody was selling something on Craigslist, they was going to send them a check for a lot more than what it was worth. Just all kinds of scams come out. Like you said, the driveway scam, just all kinds. Now, we've got one right now that's working out here by Walmart. It's an elderly lady, a guy's trying to scam her. He's supposed to come back. Her family's watching. We're also watching, so when he comes back, we can get him. What we call them are gypsies. They come through doing the driveway scams. I wish we could totally make the elderly aware to where they wouldn't do this, or wouldn't take it in. But I don't, we have told them and told them and told them, and they still continue to fall prey to this. Like I said, we have told the media. I mean, I'm sorry if you hadn't caught or heard it, but
No,
we.
no, I feel I hear it all day long.
Okay.
I was the wrong person for them to do that to.
Right.
That was-
But, we go out and speak to any person that has had this happen. We've told people that has had this, to elderly people, we find out who their folks are and go talk to them, see if they can help them. But, we find sometimes when, that they won't quit. They keep coming back, and the people end up going ahead and giving them the money anyways after we've been begging them not to. They'll change their name from Book Clearinghouse to Western Union. We've had it all kinds of. We will continue to strive to get the elderly people to understand this.
I have a question.